Right then, this is a quick walk around video for a lovely car. It's a Honda Accord 2-litre EX automatic. Apologies, someone just drove past. Lovely car, very low mileage, just 51,000 miles. It's lovely ownership. One owner from new and a full Honda service history. Car's really nice. Engine's running. It's first thing in the morning, so as you'd expect, a bit of condensation from the back of the car as it's warming up. But it is a lovely vehicle. Front of the car, lights and lenses, completely clear and intact. There's no cracks or obvious condensation in them. It's just spitting with rain, which is a real pain, but trust me, the bonnet is very clean. Near side of the car, lovely and smooth in the panel work. Near side front alloy, this is one that takes all of the bashing because it's one closest to the curb, and it does have light curbing. But these are original, they haven't been painted or messed about with, and I think all the better for it. Near side rear, again, very good, just a little bit of pickling on a couple of the spokes, but generally very good. Around the back, lovely and clean. But you've got one slight mark on the bumper, sorry, just a bit of condensation coming up, just there on the bumper, but that really is it. Offside of the car is incredibly smooth. Offside rear alloy, beautiful condition. The offside ones tend to be in the better condition, just purely because they're away from the curbs. The crown alloy is lovely. I mean, it really is in absolutely beautiful condition, certainly for the age and mileage of the car. Coming to the back, huge boot, and it's been kept in beautiful condition. Inside the car now, full black leather interior, which again has been kept absolutely beautifully. Here's the front and passenger side, again all lovely and clean. Passenger seat there. Let's go to the front now. Driver's door card, beautiful condition. Footwell area is really nice, just a heel mark on the overmat, full set of original Honda mats in the car, and driver's seat for the age and mileage is in extraordinary condition. So inside the car now, engine's running as always, so the dash can be seen illuminated, which looks in stunning condition. Lovely dash design. Sat nav working exactly as it should, and you can see parking camera again working exactly as intended. So I've got to use my hand, which I'm recording with, to change the gear to put it into reverse, so I stop it there. But again, absolutely fabulous. Come across to the main dash binnacle. Hopefully you can see 51,011 miles. There are no warning lights on the dashboard at all whilst the engine's running. It is a lovely car, this one. Finally, just to show you, owner's manual pack and lock and wheel nut key, all here and present with the car. Right then, this is a quick road test video and for a truly wonderful car. This is a Honda Accord 2-litre EX automatic. Car is registered, if I can read it, GJ59BJX, with a mileage of just 51,004 recorded. By the way, the reason we do these videos is basically to ensure that if anyone's online looking at any of our cars, they actually get to see the very car in the advert in operation. Like many people, we've been to see cars which have looked absolutely fine in photographs or description, only to get there and find out it's got an obvious fault that shows up when you drive the car. So hence that's why we do it. This actually forms part of the road test route we take our customers on, and the hope is then obviously it'll be representative of what you'd feel yourself should you be offered a test drive in the car. So coming to the car, as you'll know from the video, the walk around section and also the advert itself, it doesn't come any better than this, does it really? One owner from you, private owner, service the car each and every time at the Honda dealerships. I think from memory it's 14 times or something like that. I mean, it's amazing. And I think again from memory it was all at the same Honda dealer. So it ticks every single box in terms of ownership and history of the vehicle, and his investment in the car's maintenance is immediately obvious as soon as you drive the car, because it drives just beautifully. It really, really does. Going through all the bits I always go through, starting with the engine, which bursts into life immediately, settles to a smooth, even idle. There are no warning lights on the dashboard at all relating to the engine or any other part of the car, and temperature gauge is running at a third, which is exactly where it's meant to be on a Honda vehicle. The engines are simply brilliant pieces of engineering. They have a reputation which is unmatched in its class for reliability and longevity. It's not to say they can't go wrong or don't go wrong, but it's very, very rare indeed. They're cam chain driven, there's no cam belts to worry about. But that's only really actually half the story. The other half is just what a lovely engine it is to use day in, day out. It matches the gearbox brilliantly, or vice versa. It's sort of match made in heaven, those two. But as an engine, it's docile, it's flexible, but also keen to rev when you want it to. But you put your foot down there and it's just got that kind of edge to the engine. The note is so sweet, so beautifully balanced. This is a proper engineering company that has a reputation for building the best engines in the world, and they're not going to ruin it, generally speaking, with anything. And this is a classic example, because, as I said, the engine is just so sweet. Because you put your foot down now, it's just gorgeous. It just pulls and pulls more as the VTEC, and it breathes deeper. And you don't have to drive like that. I mean, that's the beauty of them. It's there if you need it. But joy of joys, what a wonderful, wonderful engine that is. The gearbox, as I said, like the engines, have a reputation for being incredibly tough and durable. Gear shifts are wonderfully slick and smooth, whether it be low revs or high revs. It doesn't jar in any way. You have the paddles on the steering wheel if you want to do it manually, but very rarely actually utilised, but they are there, quite handy for overtakes, I guess. The gearbox, notwithstanding reputation, you should look out for the obvious things on any automatic. Just make sure the gear changes are smooth, which they are perfect. But also when you're stationary, when you select drive or reverse from neutral, there shouldn't be a great clunk as it engages. And again, there isn't. So wife coming the other way in the CRV completely blanked me. Don't blame her. And then we come on to what I actually think's the best part of the car, and that's the steering and the chassis, because it is simply brilliant. And when people get in them for test drives and own them for a couple of days, you may be thinking, what on earth is that blithering idiot on about? It's just a good car, it rides well and it goes around corners nicely. But then I think the penny drops after a while when you have to push on a bit, and you're rewarded with steering which is perfection for a front-wheel drive car with electric power steering. It really doesn't get any better than this. The weighting is superb. The turn-in, the motion of the car and the steering goes as one. I always say, I think some cars have the sportier Hondas have what I call a brilliant front end on them. So when you turn, everything kind of goes at the same motion. There's no kind of delays. There's no kind of mismatch between steering and chassis. And this is a classic example. And last night, because I do these videos, I obviously drive at sensible speeds. I'm not going to drive like a hooligan. But I dropped my son very late last night to a friend's house, a good 15 miles away, up a wonderful road between the Severn Bridge and Thornbury, it just snakes. It's like a sort of an alpine pass. It's a wonderful piece of road. And there's no one about. As I said, I wasn't driving antisocially, but I pushed the car, and my goodness me, what a lovely reminder of what utter genius the chassis is, because it allows this, compliant, comfortable ride. It's the right side of firm. It's it's a more sporty ride, but it doesn't jar. But what the car's capable of is extraordinary. The changes of direction, all types of corners, off camber, bumpy, constant radius, variable radius. It's just devours them. It's simply amazing, you know. And I said, those that know these cars know exactly what I'm talking about there. And completely missed by the motoring press, as always, as they kind of, you know, bow down to all the German manufacturers, as they always tended to do. But this is superb. There's also, by the way, absolutely no kind of clonks, rattles, anything from underneath the car that shouldn't be there. So all in fine fettle. Same with the brake pedal. Just going to leave it a little bit later for this corner. I know I used them well last night, and it's a lovely, solid brake pedal on the car. No pulsing, no vibrations coming back to the pedal at all. So all in very fine order. Finally, coming inside the car, you know, again, you know, we are, although it's a low mileage, beautifully looked after car, that would count for nothing if it wasn't very well built from new, and they are a superbly made car. No squeaks, no rattles. It's I guess in some ways it sort of shows how ageless the car is. My son's 17 and his friend got in the car last night. It was dark, it was all illuminated, and both of them said what a lovely car inside it is. And it is. It's highly equipped, but a very easy car to jump in and drive, and everything's working perfectly. You've got the sat nav up there, rear camera, dual zone climate control, which gives you different temperatures side to side if you so wish. That pumps out lovely cold air, because we tried it in a nice warm workshop earlier. Heated seats, again, all checked, all working. Got this lovely, these seats are brilliant in these Accords, by the way, as well. They seem to fit everyone. Multitude of adjustments with the memory seat on the driver's side. Then you've got this sort of dash binnacle in front, which is your classic Honda, beautifully detailed, dead simple and legible. You know, minimalist by modern standards, and all the better for it, because it's a car you just get in, you look at the road ahead and you drive. When you have to do something, you're not having to put your head down for ages trying to fathom out what you're trying to do. And then you've got this lovely leather-bound steering wheel, which feels absolutely fantastic in hand, and like the rest of the interior is in just lovely condition. I am obviously a massive fan of these cars. You know, anyone that comes to see the cars, you know, knows how I feel about them. I just think in their class at the time, you had things like the 3 Series BMW, C-Class Mercedes, Volvo S40 I think it was, Audi A4, Passat, Mondeo, you know, all these kinds of cars. If you wanted the purest sports car amongst them, you'd buy the 3 Series. But you wouldn't buy it for less necessarily kind of long-term reliability. If you wanted, you know, pure comfort, you go for a C-Class or maybe even an S40. But they're pretty dull to drive. The only car that I've always said, I think as a family car, drove as well as this car, in some ways better, but in other ways worse, was the Mondeo. I think it's a brilliant car in terms of the chassis design. Unfortunately, the build quality and mechanical engineering of the car is nothing like the Accords. You know, this is the perfect all-rounder in its class. It does pretty much everything right at the top of the class, only bettered, you know, by tiny amounts by certain manufacturers, but none of them are as tough or as reliable as these things. I think it is a wonderful vehicle, and I can find no faults with it driving the car at all. As always though, if you've got any questions about the car, don't hesitate, do give us a call.